YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my final NFL draft quarterback rankings, grades, and we'll do a little quarterback mock draft for fun at the end. Excited about it. Let's do it. My QB1 remains Cam Ward, who a lot of us expect to be the top overall pick in the upcoming draft. It'd be a surprise if he wasn't. When you say Cam Ward, what do I see? What's the first thing I think of? A quarterback prospect that will and has elevate your team. He will elevate your team. He'll give your team life. He instantly makes you more of a winner, and we saw that again over the course of his college football career wherever he has played. I mean, even going into Miami, who were a little dysfunctional before this year, just instantly made them better. A dangerous playmaking quarterback. And even when things aren't going great, he can make the plays in a short amount of time to come from behind and help you win. We saw that this year as well. And there's a long list of quarterbacks in the NFL, even good ones, that maybe do not have that part of their game. So that is really what separates him, that clearly separates him from the rest of the class. I mean, what else stands out? The arm talent is most definitely there. Specifically, tight window throws, even off platform, under pressure while getting hit, but tight window throws over the middle of the field are next level from him. I mean, almost at an elite level. But I am not calling him an elite prospect. I think he gets an early round one grade from me, an early round one prospect. Clearly the best in the class. He also has the ability to keep plays alive. That's what really stands out. If we're talking negatives, he will play the hero ball, be a little reckless at times, throwing crossbody. Has had quite a few fumbles over the course of his career. He had some overthrows this year. But yeah, it's overall a little reckless with the ball. I think we even right out the gate, we can expect big, flashy plays that can help his team, maybe the Titans, win games. But he also will have those bad turnovers. We'll see a bit of those early, and it's okay. It's, wouldn't be time to panic if we saw that. So early round one grade, I see a little bit of Jordan Love in him, and I've heard Steve McNair. And the reason we hear that is because he has the same exact body type. The way he kind of carries his body, moves around a little bit. You see a little bit of Steve McNair, who happens to be a Titans legend, and Ward's probably going to the Titans. But in terms of play style, actual comparison, I see a little bit of Jordan Love. A lot of similarities there, but Cam Ward remains QB1 for me. QB2 and 3, so tight, even though they're completely different quarterbacks in their style of play. But Jaxson Dart is going to be my quarterback to the Ole Miss QB, who I've been a fan of for a bit because he has some flashy ability. He checks a lot of boxes, no major weakness. He has some traits, some NFL QB traits. But early round 2 grade on him. I'm not against a team taking him late 1 to get that fifth-year option because I really, really think I need him. I don't think I need him to sit early on in his career. So therefore, fifth-year option you can feel a little safer with. But main reason he's not a round 1 guy, I'm a little hesitant with that, is because he's a big-time risk. He's coming from a Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss offense, very quarterback-friendly, no under center. It's a learning curve. So coaches will be going, can this guy learn and play my offense when I want him to? I don't want to wait around forever. And even if I wait forever, can he do it? So that's really what it comes down to at Dart. Does he pick it up somewhat early on? Because if he doesn't, he's going to be struggling to even get on the field. If he picks up an NFL offense, if he can learn to play an NFL offense, to learn to go through his progressions more, to learn to play under center, which maybe he won't have to do a ton, right? If he does those things, I think he could be very good. We're going to be looking back on this and going, this guy should have been a top-tier pick because he has the upside to be, maybe he ends up being the best quarterback from this class because of his upside, because, again, he checks a lot of boxes, doesn't have major weaknesses. So there's a lot to like, but there is risk. You kind of cross your fingers. The coach is sitting down with him in meetings, and I know you don't get a long time, but kind of going over the X's and O's with him, maybe they have an idea. So if he starts to slide a little bit, then that maybe those things didn't stand out in the meetings. So early round 2 grade, not against going late 1 with him. I want to call him a round 1 guy. I've always liked Dart, the flashy ability. Comparison, I see a little bit of Brock Purdy. I see a little bit of Jalen Hurts minus some mobility because he actually is pretty mobile and tough, but nowhere near on the level of Hurts. So I see some Hurts flashes in his game. A lot of flashes overall in his game, but he is my QB2. I guess the small difference between Dart and Sanders is actually a little more pro-ready, a little safer. Dart has more upside to me. I think that's clear that he has more upside. So I'm looking for upside at quarterback because you don't want just a guy. You want a big-time guy. Boom or bust, you're fine with that position. So we'll go Dart QB2. Shedeur Sanders, Colorado quarterback's going to be QB3 for me, but so close, QB2. QB3. Again, I think the difference between him and Dart has more upside. Sanders should be better right away. Yeah, he should be a little more pro-ready because he's, your typical pocket passer. He's extremely accurate, but is accuracy an elite quarterback trait? That's the big question there. It's really not viewed as one. I mean, obviously you want an accurate quarterback. Anyone that's starting in the NFL should be fairly accurate, though. But he has everyone else beat with accuracy. I love the toughness. He'll stick in the pocket. He'll throw it, but he doesn't possess elite traits. I'm trying to find an elite trait of his. We don't see it. He doesn't, he doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the arm strength. Even though he has arm strength, he doesn't have elite arm strength, really not even close. He's kind of just got the accuracy and toughness going for him, but he can sit in the pocket and deliver a ball. So I do wonder how big his upside is, and I do really worry about how he holds on to the ball. He will take some bad sacks. Sometimes he'll run straight backwards, and that's something that typically doesn't change too much. But I guess where we can dig deep and find some upside is if a coach or an NFL team could speed his clock up, speed his processor up, get him to get the ball out quicker, get him to read the field quicker. You combine that with his accuracy and he has some toughness and mobility to him, then boom, okay, he's got some upside, but that is very, very tricky to do. So I do worry about the processing speed, which results in a lot of sacks. I see some Teddy Bridgewater. I see some maybe a poor man CJ Stroud. That's kind of where I'm at with Shedeur Sanders. I feel better about early round 2 with him. Because again, doesn't really possess the elite quarterback traits. If I'm taking quarterback round 1, my personal opinion, I need me to think the guy could be special. This guy's going to be special, not just going to be a quarterback. Not going to be a quarterback just to win me some more games. A guy that can go the distance and be the reason we win football games. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is going to be my quarterback 4, a guy that everyone's all over the place on, and I believe that's because he kind of had an all over the place tape or outing over the course of his career. He actually has not just round 1 games, round 1 outings out there, but there are times where he's looked like the best quarterback in this class. Look at just this year against Michigan, an outstanding outing. Alabama last year, he really caught my eye. Kind of got that feeling about him being a future NFL quarterback when he first stepped on the field against Alabama years ago. So I saw poise back then, right? But good outings earlier this year, and then he has outings where it's like so underwhelming, missing throws, panicking a little bit, struggling under pressure, but he was playing injured in those outings, down the stretch, and he still led his team pretty far, semifinals. So, little up and down with Quinn Ewers, but and to me, he's a guy, I'm making a prediction here. He's a guy that, 5 years or so from now or 3 years, whatever, he's either a guy that's going to be like a pretty legit starter or he's going to be just struggling to be in the league. It's kind of how I guess the tape has gone for him, but he's a guy I take a shot on. If we're outside of round 1, do you take a shot on a guy that has really shown you like more than just round 1 talent, and we know he has the arm talent? I'd rather take that guy. I'd rather take a shot on that guy, even if he ends up being out of the league, down the line. I'd rather take a shot on that guy than a guy that really hasn't shown me, I really got to work with him. He's a project to maybe be good. I'd rather take this guy there. So I'll take a shot on him. Has a talent, has flash round 1 ability, and you're not going to get him in round 1. It's going to be less of a risk where you get him. I got a round 3 grade on Ewers, but kind of a boomer bust round 3 type of guy. Kyle McCord of Syracuse will be my quarterback 5, a guy that's moved up for me after I got to watch him, a guy that I did not expect to like as much as I did. I think a lot of us are guilty of going, well, he didn't work out at Ohio State. Will Howard did, so Will Howard's got to be better, and McCord can't be that good. But yeah, different offensive coordinator, offensive coach, we should say, between the two quarterbacks at Ohio State. And McCord actually played fairly well at Ohio State, and then he was a big recruit, and this was really his second run at it, and he was lights out for Syracuse this year. So the arm talent is definitely there. The arm strength is there. You combine that with the incredible improvement. Even though he played okay for Ohio State, he really stepped up, and it just shows he's got growth. I mean, he could continue to grow, and he's actually a little bit more of an ideal size, closer to the prototypical size, maybe not perfect, but then a lot of the other quarterbacks that we talked about. So you combine all those things that he shows he can grow. He's got the arm strength that you look for, which is pretty damn big. That's pretty important. He can make tight window throws. He makes some splash plays. he can get the ball out in a hurry if he needs to pretty quickly, and then a little bit more of the ideal size compared to the rest. If you combine all those things, compare to the rest, I think there's an outside chance. Some reason I could see him, and like 5 years from now, is this the guy? Is this the guy that everyone like, oh, they should have taken him. They should have saw that he could have had the upside. He could have grown in that top quarterback. So I could see that. Where his flaws are, under pressure, sometimes he gets the ball out quick, but if he actually has to try to escape pressure, he kind of takes the wrong path, and he's pretty much going to get sacked. So the guys that are taking over today's NFL, they can react to that pressure. And he does at times. He gets the ball out, but the top guys have the ability to escape it and make plays off platform or on the run. And I'm not seeing enough of that from him. And he's had some. He makes some questionable throws where he just really tries to force it in a tight window, and it really popped up in a game like Pittsburgh where he had 5 interceptions. But I ended up liking McCord a lot more than I thought I would. Arm talent is really what stands out. And he's just been better than everyone, kind of the talk that everyone has about him. So, 3rd round grade, man, if he could escape pressure better and buy himself a little more time, he'd be the best quarterback in his class, I think. So that's really the big thing. That's really kind of weighing him down a little bit, even though he's a top 5 quarterback for me. QB6 is going to be Jalen Milroe of Alabama. I like him better in round 3. You take a chance on him because he's a freak athlete and he has a strong arm. So if you kind of could put the rest together, then boom, maybe you got someone special. He was actually invited to the draft, which is interesting because this year they were supposed to really focus on inviting guys that were, and he accepted the invite, but inviting guys that were going to go on day 1, like for sure. So I could see a team taking him earlier and taking a shot at him, trying to replicate what the Ravens do with Lamar Jackson, and he'll have flashy plays. He can win games with his legs, even day 1 in the NFL, but can he win a team a Super Bowl? That's what I'm looking for with a quarterback. Can he win the big games when he has to as a passer? And that's where it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, especially early on. And 2 years ago, Bama tried to run a little bit more pro-style offense, and he really couldn't do it. Got benched that time, and they kind of had to convert it back. And then he made some plays. They bring in DeBoer from Washington as their head coach last year. And I thought he was going to play much better. What he did with Michael Penix. So Milroe disappointed a little bit there. So showing he can't really be a passer in both these different systems doesn't look great for the NFL. But again, you can win games with his legs right away. And if you can take a shot on him and get more out of him as a passer, then boom, maybe you have something. He played a great game against Georgia this year. Tyler Shough at 7 has more of the ideal quarterback size that you look for compared to the rest of the class. He has arm talent. He makes some flashy plays. He gets the ball out quick. He was a little bit more, after knowing about him, watching some games live, watching the tape, I found a lot more hero type play, just panic and just throw the ball for grabs. I did not expect that from him. We saw that a bit, so that's a little bit of a worry. Several past injuries, a little bit of a worry. He's a little bit older of a prospect, which I'm not too worried about that. So, yeah, because of the couple flaws, maybe that moves him down a little bit. But he played in more of a pro-style offense with Louisville, played in Air Raid with Texas Tech the year before. So you kind of got a mixture of different systems. He's picked them up. It's a really good sign. So he's a guy, if he has to play right away and he's healthy, he might be able to win you some games. Will Howard be next. The Will Howard that played in the playoffs, I think much better than this. He got the ball out quickly and accurately on time, so that looked pretty good. Before that, there's not a large sample size of that on tape, so 4th round pick for me. Sneaky athletic, pretty tough, pretty physical. He's a tricky one too, because you don't want to. If you base everything off the playoff, then you think he's much better in this. But how is he going to be on in my offense? If I'm a coach, how is he going to be in my offense? I don't think I can't really expect fully what he did in the small sample size down the stretch with Ohio State. Max Brosmer from Minnesota. He doesn't have the downfield arm talent, which is huge. That's important. But everything else, he's really checking a lot of boxes. He's pretty accurate. The ball comes out quickly on time. He's not the most mobile, but he can maneuver from pressure, buy himself a little bit more time. So I was a little impressed with him. And then Dylan Gabriel at 10, more of a late round pick for me. He's at an awkward throwing motion, better on underneath throws. Ball needs to come out quick. I think he's been a little overhyped over his career, but obviously has the big playability, a guy that can also buy himself a little bit of time on plays. So those would be my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the NFL draft. Let's do a little quarterback mock. Fits and also very realistic landing spots for some of the top quarterback prospects. Got to go Cam Ward with the Titans. That's where we're expecting him to land. It's where I've been saying since the combine, so we're going to roll with that. Shedeur Sanders. Draft starts with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback, right? Where is he going to go? With this, I'm not necessarily saying the Giants are going to take him at 3. I actually think they take whoever's available between Hunter and Carter, so non-quarterback. And Sanders very well could go 2 to the Browns, or he can go 7 to the Jets, 9 to the Saints. A lot of hype about the Saints right now, a lot of buzz about that. Could happen. Maybe the Steelers down there in the first round, but I could change my mind any given time on this, to be honest, but I think the Giants and the work that they've done on Sanders, dating back for quite a while, I think their A-plus plan is, and your A-plus plan doesn't always pan out for the draft, but is to end up with Travis Hunter and then trade up if he slides. They're hoping he slides a little bit for Shedeur Sanders. So somehow, some way, maybe the Giants end up with him. The fit kind of makes sense given the amount of work that they've done on him, and then he can even sit and learn from guys like Russ and Winston right away. And that leaves Jaxson Dart for the Browns. And then Jalen Milroe could end up going a little earlier than I would take him. I think the Saints is a fit. A lot of hype about the Steelers right now. I'm going to go with the Saints. And that Kellen Moore offense, using his legs, trying to get him to, I don't think he's Jalen Hurts, but trying to get him to be that type of player for him. And then Kyle McCord for Arthur Smith's offense and the Steelers. A lot of buzz about Milroe for them. I don't know if they go that route. I like McCord for that offense, and that could make some sense. Maybe he ends up learning behind Rodgers if they do end up signing him for a year. Quinn Ewers, I like for the Seahawks. I like for the Rams. I see him in a Clint Kubiak offense. I could see him being his Derek Carr. That was kind of working out pretty well early last year when Kubiak was with the Saints. Now he's the OC of the Seahawks, so a lot of play action. I could see you making things a little simpler, actually, for him, unlike it was at Texas. So learn from Sam Darnold for a year or two, that or probably more than one. And then Tyler Shough for the Rams, I could see him. The only problem with that is he's already an older prospect, and he's got to sit and learn behind Stafford. I don't know if it'll be too much of a problem for the Rams. McVay and the Rams, they seem to take older prospects a bit, but it just seems like a really good fit for McVay's offense. And that left with Will Howard of the Jets. I could see the Jets taking Sanders if he slides to them at 7. I could see them taking a quarterback much earlier than Will Howard. But maybe, they like Fields. They have Tyrod Taylor. Maybe they wait a little bit, take Howard. I also can see Will Howard with the Raiders with Chip Kelly there, but they have a couple options. Obviously, they brought in Geno Smith. So, and these all, the second Sanders goes to a team not named the Giants, and this whole list changes here. So, good fits to me that today feel like realistic options. We're going to do more updated mock drafts so we can change some things. So, I think there's a lot of fun here touching on these quarterbacks. Got to do the rest of my prospect rankings. Going to group a lot of those together so we just rip them off. So you guys don't have to wait for each position video. Not going to do that the rest of the way. So, but excited about the rest of the NFL draft content we have. We'll be live streaming during day 1 of the NFL draft and then videos throughout it. It's my favorite time of the year. Can't wait for it to all start. So subscribe to notifications on. Join us. We much appreciate it. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.